and national security. Russian President Vladimir Putin taunting the United States about his country's stash of nuclear weapons. At his State of the Nation address, Putin announced that Russia has developed a range of nuclear weapons that cannot be intercepted. But one U.S. official tells Fox News that while the United States doesn't defend, it does deter, and any attack by Russia or anyone else would be met with an overwhelming response. Going to my next guest for reaction, we have former CIA officer Buck Sexton joining me now. And Buck, this kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, there's a context to it, and that is that Russia is still trying to deal internally with the reports about a large number of Russian paramilitaries who were blown up in Syria by U.S. artillery and air support. And this is just in the last few weeks. Now, they weren't officially Russian military, but they were Russian citizens fighting alongside the Assad regime. And Putin, who has built a lot of his authority and a lot of his popularity at home based on the notion that he's projecting out, he's refusing to be constrained with foreign policy, has to respond to what was essentially a slap in the face, in this case a very lethal one, to the Russian government in Syria.
So do you think he's bluffing?
Oh, absolutely. In terms of the capabilities here, I think he's bluffing. This doesn't change anything. I mean, he's saying that you have an ability now to evade U.S. radar. The Russians could already nuke us. This hasn't changed the strategic calculation at all. There will be efforts to try and up our missile defense systems going forward. This isn't going to spark a new arms race, but there will be a continuation of research and development to try to figure out how would you deal with hypersonic glide vehicles, for example, some of the next generation nuclear delivery vehicles that would be out there. But in the meantime, we still have the nuclear triad. If the Russians did anything, our response would be overwhelming. And everyone knows this. This is chest thumping from Putin.
It's posturing. He's trying to, again, get his people behind him, especially in light of what just happened in Syria. Turning now to China and the steel imports. I mean, one of the big concerns, and I imagine in your time at the CIA, this was quite often addressed and thought about, is that China is becoming increasingly big, increasingly powerful, both from an economic standpoint and from a military standpoint. The president here is attempting to sort of level that playing field in some ways, to say, okay, China, you can't just subsidize your steel industry and throw it all over in the U.S. and basically put us out of business. From a national security standpoint, given how important steel is this, in your view, strategic?
Well, we've had a notion for a while now that the U.S. relationship with China, because of trade and economic growth, was generally mutually beneficial, although you could argue that China is engaged in a trade war against the United States without calling it that, and that's what Trump is responding to. What we're seeing here is the beginning of what could be the pivot, the recognition of China is our near-peer competitor. China is the next kid on the block. They're the one that could be a real challenge to U.S. hegemony. And if we see that begin to get more hostile and more difficult, it will start on trade. It will start in the economic sphere, much more likely. This isn't like the South China Sea, where there's some regional competitors to China, where there actually could be some shooting that goes on very soon.
But I'm okay with that, by the way, because it gets back to what I say over and over again. You know, dollars, not lives. I mean, we should play this out economically, I would think, and have an economic war before we actually have a war.
Well, we'll have to see, because if we hold China to account, there are ways that they may try and retaliate. The fastest one that comes to mind is on North Korea. We've, up to this point, been saying, we're going to push China, we're going to pressure China. You and I have actually had these conversations here on your show, where I say, China doesn't have the same interest with North Korea as we do. And by the way, there have been some sanctions evasions tactics that have only been possible because of China at least turning something of a blind eye.
Okay, but maybe now we're playing tough. Maybe now we're playing tough and we're saying, you know what, China, because you're not cooperating on North Korea, guess what? We're going to stick a 25% tariff on all that steel you try and send here.
Trump is following through on a campaign promise. He is standing up to Chinese manipulation and Chinese economic aggression. But when you stand up to bullies, sometimes unexpected things can happen. So we shouldn't expect this to be painless.
It's not. We're down 500, right? There's pain right now in the markets. Buck Sexton, thank you so much.